All right. Thank you for joining once again. Today we will be working or focusing on WiseNet access control. For those who are new to Hanwha may not know about it, we also develop our own access control software. Uh, we manufacture CCTV components, we manufacture CCTV software, we develop CCTV software and all that. That's fine. In addition to that, because most projects have CCTV as well as access control, and the project requires integration, the project requires a single mapping interface. They need pop-up if the door access control is denied. So for addressing those projects, we developed our own access control software. There are many SIs who are not always working on large projects, and they may not have a relationship with an access control supplier, and they struggle to get the right pricing. They struggle to get the right support. So to address that gap, we have released our own access control software. So having said that, you can use our software irrespective of the project, what kind type of project. You can use our end-to-end solution from CCTV to access control. Now, usually go through the access control features first, because that will clarify many compliance concerns that you would have generally whenever you're working on certain project compliance. The first thing that comes to mind is this feature available with WiseNet? Yes, you would. I mean, when you're designing, you know how to design number of controller, number of readers, and so on. That's easy. Uh, that will come in part of today's training. But the primary focus is, can I comply to this project requirement? So we will go through all the features, and then you will be comfortable enough to start the design for your project. Okay. So the first feature that you would see mostly in projects is dual authorization. We call it role-based access control. Okay? In other words, some specifications might call it dual authorization. What is dual authorization? Two people should authorize before you access a door. Maybe it's a very safe area, or it could be a very high value asset stored in a safe box. In order to access that particular box or that area, you would be required to bring along your supervisor. Supervisor should swipe his card, and then you can swipe your card, and only after that the door will open. All right. So at least two cards, two people should be witnessing that in event of opening the door. Some projects may require more than that, but generally dual authorization is the word used in specification. We can support dual or even more if you require. You can have two or three cards as required. During this dual authorization event, sometimes maybe the staff will swipe and then the supervisor. So you can customize the sequence. Who will be the first person to swipe? For example, here, first the admin and then the staff. That is the sequence. Otherwise, you can say first staff, then admin. So when they are violating, there is a issue, right? Sometimes maybe the person is forced to swipe the card. So if they miss the sequence, then you can get an alert. Here you can enforce. If you enforce sequence, what happens is um, the door will not open unless and until the particular sequence is followed. First admin, then staff. That is called enforce sequence. Then if they miss to follow the sequence, what should be the action? If they miss to follow the sequence, for example, even if you enforce first admin then staff, what if they accidentally swipe the other way around? In that case, you can take a notification saying, okay, this rule has been violated, but it's fine, go ahead and open the door. So that is called only report violation, or you can say do not, I mean, report violation and deny entry. So you can take two calls. You can customize two actions, either allow the entry or just deny completely. All right. You can also have timeout within 1 second, the second person should swipe the card. User groups, it's a common feature with any typical access control. Every building has a group of doors, and those group of doors are accessed by a set of people. If I am the staff in the training department, then I will have access to the main door. I will have access to the training room. I will also have access to certain common areas like pantry and other areas, lobbies, lifts, and so on. So I have access to a group of doors from lobbies, lift entrances to training room. Similarly, department, they will not have access to training room. They will have access to their own finance department office. So in that manner, you can group assign a set of doors to each user, right? So that is called user group. That group of doors which you assign is called user group. Group 1 can have all entrance door, group 2 can have finance department door, group 3 can have VIP offices, and group 4 can be training room. And for each person, you can assign multiple groups. He can access group 1. That means he can access all the entrance. He can access group 3. That means he can access all VIP offices. Group 4 maybe training room. So Richard here, he can access all groups, right? So that means he has access to every door in the building. You can assign roughly 7 groups to one person. Okay? A group is a set of doors. Reader tamper detection, it's a feature in the software. If the communication is disconnected between the reader and the controller, then the software will give you a notification. Door interlocking. Door interlocking requires two doors, door 1, door 2. If door 1 is left open, you can see in the picture, if the door 1 is left open, then door 2 will be denied entry because someone left the door open. It is linked, interlocked. Okay, so interlocking feature is sometimes requested in the specification. Fire mustering report, it's a feature when there is a fire event. When the fire alarm input is sent to the controller, immediately you get a report. Automatically, you can print a report saying how many people are still in the building. So you get a mustering report. LDAP. LDAP integration allows you to download the database from your HR direct all the first name, last name, department, company names, and so on. So you can download it and then quickly assign the card holders into access groups in the access control software. So you don't have to waste time typing all the data. SMTP integration allows you to send an event email if the door is denied access. If the door is denied access, you can get an event saying, all right, so um, there is an incident, someone's door, I mean, was opened during non-working hours. Lift access control. What is lift access control? In any project, there are two types of access control towards doors, access control for lift. Access control for a door and for lift. What's the difference? When you swipe a card for a door, only the door gets unlocked, right? Only the door in that particular floor gets unlocked. Very common, understood. But for a lift, when you swipe the card, the lift will decide which all floors to allow access. Not just one door. There are, if you have 20 floors, that's like 20 doors. 20 relay contacts should be released. So you understand the difference. In a door, it releases that particular door, maybe one relay or two relay maximum. But for a lift, there are 10 floors, so the lift has to release 10 relay contacts. So there is a difference in the way of operation. That's why what we have is a separate interface in the access control software called lift access control. You can create lift just like you create door, main entry door 1, main entry door 2. You can create lift 1, lift 2, lift 3, passenger lift 3, guest lift 4, like that. You can create lift. Every floor in that particular lift you can assign to a relay from the access control board. You can assign to a relay. So whenever you swipe the card, you can if he has access to maybe only 5 floors, that particular lift will of course give access to that 5 floors. But not only that, you can create groups. For example, uh, okay, so let me go directly to this. Okay, what you see here is a picture of our access control card holder management. Here I am going to create a new user, new username, employee ID, what is his access method, card. On the right side, you can see access group. This is what we learned before called user group, access group, where he can access a set of doors, right? Group six, he can access a set of the doors which belongs to group six. Same way, there is something known as lift group. A lift group means, let's say I am a trainer. In that case, I will have access to the training floor. I will have access to the ground floor. Then I will have access to some other floors, maybe the roof and certain meeting room floors. Okay. So let's say I have access to floor 1, floor ground floor, and then floor 5 and floor 10. Okay. Now there are uh, this many floors, but in my building there are more than one lift. I have, let's say, 3 lifts. So which means I have to have access right for a lift 1, 2, 3, and in each lift I should have access to ground floor, first floor, fifth floor, and 10th floor, right? So I should have access to 3 lifts, not just the floor number, and for that lift I should have access to those floors. Maybe lift 3, if it does not have access to the roof, then it's fine. But still, I should be able to use lift 3 to go up to training room or to come back to the ground floor and so on. So maybe if you have a service lift, I can, let's say I should not have access to that. In that case, in the software, what I would do is I will say user Samuel will have access to lift 1 and 2, 3, and not the fourth one. And inside lift 1, I will have access to specific floors. So I can create a customized lift group saying which all lift he can access and which all floors in that lift he can access. Right? I hope you got it. So you can assign which lift to access, and in the lift which all floors you can access to a particular cardholder. Got it? So this is in addition to the doors. So you have two separate parallel access control groups that you can assign to a person. Okay. Now this is hardwired access control. Each and every floor you have to give a relay contact to the lift controller. The lift controller is supplied by the lift manufacturer. You just have to tell them, yes, I need this many relay inputs to be connected from the access control software. If you don't have lift access control, do not worry about it. However, I just wanted to mention this is a built-in feature in our software. You don't need to pay any additional licenses. There are many access control brands. They charge a separate module license called lift module license. Work hour report. Work hour report is a basic time maintenance application running in our software. When you swipe in, swipe out, it will just calculate the difference. That's it. And give you a report. Employee so and so, he was in the office from morning this time to the leaving time so and so, and the duration is so on. What is his work time is so and so. The difference, right? The first in, last out. It will only calculate that within the day. Anti-passback. Anti-passback is a feature when This you can of course check online. This is a global reference word, anti-passback or anti-passback. So what is the mean? Let's say you have a storeroom where you keep all the valuables. You have a card reader at the entrance, and then you enter the door. When you're leaving, there is another card reader. You have to swipe out by showing the card, and then only you can leave. Let's say two people entered the storeroom. You and your friend, you entered the storeroom. You each of you swipe the card. Done. And when you're leaving, you forgot to swipe because your friend opened the door for you. He swiped and he opened the door for you, and you forgot to swipe. So according to the software, you're still in the storeroom because you did not officially swipe the card. Your friend left the door open for you, so you easily left the store. Now, this is a challenge according to software. According to the software, it thinks you're still in the store. So next time when you try to enter, it will say denied entry because you have not left the room. How you are able to access again? Same way for office. For some offices, they want to track when you went, when you came in, when you left. So they might enforce anti-passback. And if you forget to swipe, maybe someone left the door open, you left the office, and tomorrow when you come back, it will not allow you entry because the particular door has been configured for anti-passback. Okay. Now, you can enforce this or you don't have to enforce it. Maybe you can say report and allow access. Report and deny means it will deny access. Report and allow means it will allow the access, but it will still, it will just create a event in the access control software that this person violated the rule. All right. So that is called anti-passback. We have global and local. Local means within the same controller. Global means if you have different buildings in your property. Let's say there is a university of different buildings. If the person entered one building and did not leave, he just entered through some other door. And when he goes to another building, it will say you still have not left building A. So go back, swipe the card, and then come back. So this is called global anti-passback. If any doubts, let me know on this point. Next is Guard Tour. Guard Tour is actually separate system back then in the 10 years back. Now it's a built-in feature within our access control. The best way to understand is imagine you have a hotel property, you own the hotel, and you hired some security guards to keep check. In the night time, you told the security guard, please check every exit at midnight. Make sure its doors are locked. But how will you make sure? Because you would probably be sleeping. How will you make sure the security guard physically went there, checked the door at 12 o'clock? How will you get a report? What you can do is you can keep a reader at those doors, a reader at those doors, and create a tour in the system. And you can say, reader one, the guard his card he should swipe at exactly 12 in the midnight. Reader 2, gate 2, he should swipe at 1 a.m. in the midnight after night. Right? So you can create a sequence. So when that particular time comes, 12 o'clock, the guard should physically go and swipe his card there. That will give you a comfort. Okay, this person has actually been there and he swiped the card. Then at 1 o'clock, he should go to the next one. In between something happens, then you can get an event. Okay, that guard maybe was attacked. He did not reach gate 2. Okay, so this is how you implement guard door system. Okay, we also have built-in visitor management application, free to use within the same access control software. What is visitor management system? There is a difference in visitor management system and a typical access control. A typical access control in the card, every card is assigned to one user. If you have access control card, it is assigned to you. If you swipe the card, it will tell Samuel entered. Even if my colleague is using my card, it will say Samuel entered because according to the card, it is designated to me. And a visitor management, that the visitor card. Today it can be assigned to Samuel. Tomorrow it can be assigned to someone else. Day after tomorrow to someone else. So the card holder will keep on changing. All right. So, but the card will remain the same. But the card holder, the username will keep changing. So you need a software application where you will assign cards, you will assign pre-authorized cards. Okay. These cards should be authorized by the supervisor that this is a authorized card. That's fine, but it will not be assigned to anyone yet. So as a visitor management application, you will use pre-authorized cards at the reception desk. The receptionist or the security person will issue the card, a visitor card. Okay, so this is a visitor management application where he will enter his name, details, email, and who's the host, and issue that particular card, a visitor card to that person. Okay, the receptionist or the security guard, he cannot create a new authorized card. He has to use pre-authorized cards. That's why whenever you go to a certain office building, they ask you for the Emirates ID and they take it from a group of cards, right? They just take it and give it to you because those group of cards, maybe each group belongs to certain floors. So they will only use those cards and give it to you. They cannot buy a new card and authorize it. That cannot be done. That is done from the management side. Okay, so the visitor management application will allow you to assign card holder, you know, in real time based, from the pre-authorized cards. All right, now once the person leaves, there is a button here to check out. So this is called checkout. So it will be cleared. If they use a card again, his card will not be allowed to use because you have already checked out. Then tomorrow he comes back again, he doesn't have to enter the data, it's already saved. He can just click and check in, or he can enter a new person and check in that same card to someone else. The visitor management application you can install separately on the front desk. All right. And just to issue the visitor cards. This is a built-in feature. Next is mapping. Access control software supports mapping. You can upload image files for map. User management. When you are creating a new user, you can upload his photo. You can add a company name. You can add a department, employee ID, name. In addition, you can issue multiple cards. That's one good thing. You can issue a card, credential. You can say this person, he has access to a card. Then maybe he has access to two cards. For example, maybe he is supposed to have access to a gate barrier where you're using a very high frequency card. It's a completely different card. So he will have two cards in that case. Or maybe he has a Bluetooth mobile ID, digital card, not just physical card. So in that case, he will have two IDs. So so you can assign multiple cards, issue multiple cards to the same person. Okay, a mobile ID card or a physical card or a card with a PIN code. So you can assign multiple credential to one person, and you can each card you can assign which groups of doors he can access and which lift he can access. Then you have some options here. What is the expiry date? You can give anti-passback exemption. You can also give card role. He is the admin staff. You can give extended access. That means he can keep the door open for a long time. Sometimes when there is a shifting going on, office shifting, so you can avoid alarm by saying extended access. So that means you can keep the door open for some more time. Then detailed information is where you enter additional data about the cardholder, social ID, nationality, and so on. Fingerprint, we have fingerprint readers, so you can enroll a fingerprint data using the software, but you need one enroller hardware called BioMini. We have a fingerprint scanner called BioMini. I will show it to you later on. You have to use that and attach it to the computer where you're enrolling. Okay, so the moment you click capture, the BioMini will be activated and you can show your finger on the BioMini scanner. The face registration, we also have a face registration reader. You can also use that if you require. Then if some of the field is not visible or it's not satisfactory, then you can create your own custom field. You can say I need his birthday, date and time, or I need certain other details, his text, or maybe his preferences, checkbox. You can say, okay, he um, checkbox could be maybe let's say is a vegetarian, non-vegetarian checkbox. So you have some additional data about his information, okay, or his internal stuff, external stuff. So you can create that checkbox. Text box, some additional data if you want to enter, you can enter. So you can customize, entry fields. You can add more entry fields as you like. IO linking, you can link one input to another output. Very simple, right? If you have an input, maybe if you have a emergency door which you are not supposed to lock, a staircase door which you're not supposed to lock. However, if someone is using that, you can immediately release a relay to activate sounder, activate a light, a strobe light. Okay, so you can customize and link one input to another output. You can also uh, link a fire alarm input. You can say this is a fire alarm input, and if it happens, it will trigger all the doors to open, right? You can register companies. So let's say you are subletting your office building to different companies. In that case, you can group the devices to that particular company name. You have a controller, you have some readers. You can say this controller and readers belongs to company A. Another controller and readers belongs to company B. You can assign the hardware to a specific company name. So those hardware will only work for people under that company name, or it belongs to that company name, right? So you can group the devices under company, and you can have multiple company names and with one software. Meal counting, this is also another feature which we are using in one of our head office, where every staff gets access to free Starbucks coffee, whatever they have in the menu. So every day, 2 or 3 times they can use. So there is a reader at the counter. So every time they use, they swipe it. All right, and they can order anything and take. So that is on the company. So company will sponsoring that. So the company at the end of the day, they can take a report how many times he used in a month. So they have access to maybe 60 times they can use per month. So they will just check. If they overuse it, then they can check with the staff and then see if there was a guest or something like that, and then take action. Maybe it could be printing service, it could be anything like that. Time scheduling is just when the controller should work, when during holiday times, okay, it should not work, things like that, scheduling. Next is reporting. You can take a report for each card holder, um, what all doors he access, or per door, which all uh, person who all access that particular door. Or you can take a report based on an event, which all doors were denied access today, who all were denied access today, right? And which door, which person. So you can take based on every single event or a group of event, you can take a report. From the access control, you can have an automatic database backup done to a remote location called database auto management, sorry, database, scheduled database. You can take it to a remote location as you like. Okay? Then you can also customize how long the database should be kept in the software. Sometimes some customers want for 1 year, so you can customize here 3 months, 1 month, 6 months, and certain events, normal data, maybe just 1 month, alarm event for more than 1 month. So you can keep a log. If you do, by default, it's 3 months, so you have to edit that if you need more. Next is user account. User account. User account means Let's say you create a new user, new card holder, sorry, new user. He should be able to issue cards. He should be able to delete door. He should be able to create a new door. He should be able to assign new lift. That is called configuration user. Next, monitoring. Monitoring means he only gets access to see the live event and view the incidents and unlock the door. That is monitoring. Visitor management is only the visitor issuing card or person or the reception front desk person. So he will not be monitoring the live events. He will only issue cards. That is called visitor management. All right. The monitoring, he can also get I mean, if the visitor is accessing, he can monitor that. So the monitoring person can see the visitor, uh, whoever is accessing. The configuration person can do everything. He can see issue cards, visitor management, and get access to the backend to create a new door and so on. So you can create three types of users. If you have an Excel sheet, you can also download in a specific format, first name, last name. You can also import into access control. Then when we integrate, this is also very important point. If you want, you can integrate our access control to our own VMS called SSM VMS. Free to integrate. No need to pay any license to integrate WiseNet access control to WiseNet SSM VMS. Once you integrate, you get a pop-up. If there is a door access granted or denied, ID verification, whatever objective you have, you can get an event. You can link an event to a camera. So this is event pop-up. This this window is a live window. This is the card holder who used the card. So the moment he swipe the card, it will show this person swipe the card, what is his card number, and this is the footage from the camera, live footage. You can also do playback and check. You can enter some data and confirm the event. Next, in the VMS, SSM VMS, you can have a map with the door and camera. You cannot do it in access control software. You have to do it in the VMS software. In the VMS, you can link door, okay? Not the other way around. You can have camera map and door map in the same. From the VMS, you can also unlock and lock the access control door. You don't have to go to access control software. You can also do it from VMS. In the access control software, there's a built-in badging software. You can buy a card printer and use it for designing the badge. Front and back you can design. The client interface. The client interface, this is the um, operator window. In the operator window, you have an option called door management. This is how it looks, by the way, the client window. This is how it looks. All the live events are displayed. He can also he has an option called door management where he can unlock and lock doors, not just one, a group of doors. He can also unlock and lock. Maybe during fire all the doors were open and he has an option to lock everything with one click. Then he can reset the door alarm, lock and lock from the access control interface. He can review the report, what's happening, who had denied access, which person. He can review the report. And yeah, so basically he will confirm the events, right? So he can check whether he confirmed, he acknowledged that particular incident. Then the operator can customize the color of the event. Maybe if he wants to get attention for a specific event, he can change the color for denied access, and he can customize the sound also, right? This is a very small feature. Basically, the access control software will log out after 10 minutes. You can customize that. Okay. Now, before we go into the configuration part, let's take a 10-minute break and then we will continue how to design the access control. We will resume now. All right. Okay. Now, how do we proceed on designing an access control solution for a project? There are two ways of designing: centralized or distributed. Some projects you can have a combination of both, right? All right. Now, centralized means there is one central controller which is responsible for subcontrollers. The subcontroller is the one speaking to the readers. In distributed, each of the controller will directly speak to the readers, and at the back end they will be connected to the network. Again, on the centralized, the central controller alone is connected to the network, to the software over the switch, whereas the subcontrollers, they don't have a network port to speak directly. They have to speak to the master controller via RS485, right? And the master controller will in return speak to the software. So the subcontrollers, they cannot decide by themselves whether to allow access or deny access if the communication is lost with the master controller. Okay, so this is why some projects they prefer to use distributed system. Every door will have its own controller, right? However, the cost is higher when you do distributed. That's why centralized is still one of the preferred choice due to cost. So if the communication is disconnected, the door, this particular door will not be able to work. Okay. However, if the TCP IP connection, if that is disconnected, no issue. The controller can work by itself. It does not need a TCP IP. Once you program, once you upload the card holder, everything is saved on the controller. It can decide all the user rights, access groups, everything. So far, no issue. It will keep a log of all the data. Once the connection is restored, TCP IP, then whatever logs are pending, it will push it to the software. Okay. Now, this particular controller for distributed and centralized, it's not two different model. It's the same model. It's how you use it. You can use it as a centralized system or you can use it as a distributed system. That's why it's called a hybrid controller. Before we had separate model for centralized, separate for distributed. Now it's the same model which you can use for either centralized or distributed. Now this hybrid new controller supports additional option which is the latest in I mean which is the most recently accepted connection called OSDP connection, right? OSDP and vegan, the communication from the reader board or the subcontroller to the reader. There are two types of communication: vegan or OSDP. Vegan is the old method, OSDP is the latest method. OSDP is very secure, vegan is not secure. Okay. The hybrid controller supports both vegan as well as OSDP. All right. Now let's look closer at the controller, hybrid controller. The controller on, if you are going to use it as centralized method, that means central controller will have TCP/IP, right? This will go to the software. Then the subcontrollers are connected via RS485. Where is RS485? It's here, port number 1, port number 2. So there are two RS485 connection. One will go here and it will connect to multiple boards, and another loop will come from here and it will connect to multiple boards. Each can connect up to 16 boards. So total 32 boards you can connect. Board 1, board 2, board 3, and so on. Right. If you are going to use the controller, this one, as a distributed method, in that case, you are not going to use RS485. You will directly connect TCP/IP, that's okay. And the door reader, you will be able to connect directly from here. Reader 1, reader 2. Fine. So, right. Then this is for door input, door contact input, or push button input. Then for lock, you have a relay output. You can even program this one of the input as a fire input if you want. Okay. Now, if you notice, there is a reader 1, a reader 2. That means two readers you can connect. Okay. Two readers you can connect if you're using a vegan method. However, if you use OSDP method, the newer mode, in that case, you can connect first reader 1, and then you can loop and connect another reader 1 and reader 2. You can connect two readers. Where will you use this? If you have a door, if you have a door with in and out reader, if there are two readers, right, in and out reader. If you have a door with in and out reader, you can use this for in and this for out. Okay. So if you use OSDP method, instead of using this, I mean, if ever you use vegan, for example, if you use, let's go back to vegan. If you use vegan, and if I have a door with in and out reader, I will use reader 1 in, reader 2 out. So the entire board is used up. Okay. The entire board, this is a subcontroller, by the way, entire board is used up. However, if I use OSDP method, from one reader, I can loop another one. So I can have two doors instead of one door. In weekend, if I have a door with in and out reader, the entire board will be used for one door. Whereas in OSDP, I can use one reader connection for two readers, and per door you can have maximum in and out reader, right? So two doors I can use. All right. Now comes another option. What if I have a reader? Let me just pull out that slide. Okay. Just a second, please. All right. So this is the controller. If you are going to use it with a centralized system, you would be focusing on uh, that. Okay, let's do distributed. Okay, if you're going to do distributed method, you will be connecting, all right, these for tamper because it will be housed in an enclosure. If the someone is opening the enclosure, you can get a tamper input. Power supply failure input, power, and these are the four for the readers. Door contact, exit push button, lock, auxiliary relay. Same for the right side. Okay. Now, if you're going to use a vegan method, in that case, you would probably have first a master controller. Okay. Do not worry about the models, just a master controller, which is the first controller. After that, there is a RS485 connection, which will go to the subcontroller. The subcontroller is the one speaking to the reader. All right. The subcontroller is the one speaking to the reader. The subcontroller will also control the lock and push button. All right. When you use push button, it means you are controlling only one door. Door is one. That means you log in, you swipe your card, and then when you leave, you press a push button. All right. So, which means if the board has two readers, each can be used for one particular door. So, total two doors can be controlled from one controller in that case. Right. All right. We will do some examples. Usually I cover a lot of examples that will help you to understand. Okay. Recover, remote desktop. All right. Whenever you add a specific controller to the access control software, there is an option here. There is an option here to select how many number of doors it's supposed to manage, right? how many number of doors. Okay, now to understand this further, when you create a door in the access control software, when you create a door, you have to specify, is it card in, card out? Card in, card out means entry reader, exit reader. Did you understand this? Card in, card out. That means you swipe in to enter, you swipe out to leave. All right. That means you need two readers for one door, or card in, rex out, request to exit, push button. Card to enter, and then for leaving, you just press a push button. And then I have to assign the reader number. So this is what you're seeing here. Reader number. If I'm having a door with a push button out, I will say the door's reader is reader number one, and I will create another door and say that door's reader is reader number two. So that means I can connect or create two doors from one board, two doors from one board. Did you get it? All right. One for door one, another door two, because I'm using push button on to release to and leave. However, if I am going to use card in, card out, that means each door I need two readers, one for entry, one for leaving. So I have to here write here what is the door. This is for exit reader, and I have to give a reader number. Entry and exit. I have to assign a reader number. Okay. So now in this case, you would have no. Okay. Now in this case, this particular case, so I need how many readers? Two readers. So from the board, left side and right side, I will use both. So from the board, left side and right side, I will use both for one door itself, because reader in, reader out. This is how it was done as of, let's say, last month from our boats. For one door, if you want entry and exit, you will use up both reader one, reader two. However, in the newer version, which is X100, the current version, we have an option of using OSTP reader. This is the newer method. In the newer method, from reader one itself, I can loop multiple readers. For example, here we go. In Weekend, every reader should be directly connected. Whereas in OSDP, from the controller, I can loop one reader to another reader. Okay, do not consider 3, 4. Just this is just to show you the difference. You can connect from one reader to another reader. So now what happens? In order to achieve the same function, for one door, I need two readers. I can use, okay, so I can use from reader one, I can connect two readers. From reader port 2, I can connect two readers. So I can still get two doors in OSDP. Okay. Now, there are some checklist which we will be seeing at the end of the training. Next, um, input board. Now, if ever you have many doors where you're monitoring in and out, sorry, you're just monitoring someone is opening the door. Right? If someone is unlocking the door and opening the door, if you want to check whether the door is open or closed, that's it, just for monitoring purpose. There is no lock system such as access control, electronic lock. There is no such electronic lock. It is a free exit, emergency exit, staircases. So in that particular doors, you have only inputs because you're only monitoring the door contact, whether the door is open or not, right? Whether the door is open or not, that's all you're monitoring. So if you were to use a controller, which is two reader subcontroller, it has only four inputs. That means every four door, I need one board. So what we have another board called input board. In the input board, you can connect up to 16 inputs. Okay. So 16 doors, you can monitor the status, whether it is open or closed, emergency doors. Then for the lift, same way, if it is a door, one door, you have only two relays, maximum one leaf door or two leaf door, you have two relays. That's okay. But if you have a lift, you have to control 20 lift floors, right? 20 relays you have to send. So if there is a lift with 20 floors, that means I need 20 outputs. So that scenario, I have a separate board for that called output board. Each output board has 12 outputs, right? Each output board has 12 outputs. If you have two lifts, each 20 floors, you need 40 outputs because separate it's you have to consider each floor from each lift separately. So if I have 40 floors and if I have two lifts, okay, let's say 20 floors, two lifts, total 40 divided by 12, I need four boards. Again, you don't need this if you're not going to apply lift access control. If you're going to use a lift access control system or method, then only you can purchase the board. Next, some projects they require PoE controller because the rest of the controllers they need direct power supply. So when there is a power supply issue, you can connect it to a PO switch. We have a controller called EH400K controller. You can use it to directly connect a reader. This controller will also power the reader. These kind of readers, it will also power them. Okay, by this is 5 watts, so it will power from this reader itself. You can power, no issue. Okay, then uh, okay, what are the card readers that are available? We have, if you would have noticed, these are actually from HID. We have rebranded to WiseNet. So this is R10, RK440, RK40. The newer models are Signo 20, 20K, 40, 40K. K means keypad, right? 40 means slightly longer range. That's it. Then there are three profiles in the card reader when you're ordering. Standard means it supports Bluetooth. What is Bluetooth? You can see this image. The lady has a mobile credential, not a physical card. In the mobile itself, there's a digital card. You can use it to swipe and enter the office through Bluetooth. So the range is as much as a Bluetooth. Okay, so this particular, all of them are Bluetooth supported. It has iClass support, MyFair support, and proximity support. COS is more secure. iClass COS card, smart, MyFair, as well as iClass smart cards. Okay, this is our fingerprint reader. You have to buy from us. This is also we have taken from someone. So this is WiseNet rebranded fingerprint reader. This is not a scanner, by the way. This is only for fingerprint. Let me just show you WiseNet Bio Mini. So if you want to enroll, you need a Bio Mini scanner. All right. And this is a fingerprint reader. The fingerprint reader requires also power, PoE power, or you can use external power. It's up to you. So, it requires a TCP. To import the fingerprint data, you have to connect a Cat6 cable because it's a data, not just ones and zeros. It's more of a sizable data. So you need a TCP connection to inject fingerprint information to the controller, to this particular uh, reader. Now, once you save the fingerprint, it's okay. After that, you can remove the TCP/IP. Otherwise, you can keep it connected. The best way is to connect a PoE cable to this. It will power also, as well as it will provide the data as required also. Done. All right. Now, another misunderstanding is if you're using a fingerprint reader, TCP/IP is alone not enough. The you should also connect the reader, fingerprint reader, to the board. For example, the fingerprint PoE, that is for power and data, but you should also connect the other ports, data 0, data 1, ground. That also you should connect to the controller. So just remember, whenever you use fingerprint data scan reader, you need a Cat6, you need another Cat6 for these four cores, data 0, data 1, ground. You have to use a separate cable for sending the access control data in, out, weekend output. You have to send this. Okay, so two cables are required. All right, next, in order to house the boards, we are supplying an enclosure. The enclosure is optional. You can make your own enclosure if you like. You can buy our enclosure as well. It will connect up to two boards. Any two boards you can insert in one enclosure. The enclosure also comes with a power supply. You can power the lock using this power supply. You can power the controller using this power supply. There is a space to keep the battery. Battery is not supplied. You have to source it from the local market. Okay, there is a tamper switch built in which you can connect to the controller. If ever someone opens the controller, you will get a tamper alarm. All right. Now the software itself, whatever you saw, all the features are included. And if you have a smaller project for 5 doors, okay, each door can have one reader or two readers. So 5 door, right? So just remember the difference. Door is not, if I say one door, it can have one reader, it can have two readers. So if I say one reader, it is just one reader. It has nothing to do with the door. So if I say 5 doors, it means you can have in the software, I am creating a door, right? A door one, door two, main entrance, back entrance, and I'm assigning a reader to it. Okay, so this is called a door. I can create up to 5 doors for free and use the entire access control software for free. All the features, visitor management, lift control, everything for free, even with integration with the SSM VMS. Up to 5 doors, 10 readers. Then, if you have more than that, you should go and buy a 32 door. So if you have 6 doors, you should buy 32 door. If you have 33 doors, you should buy 256. You cannot use 32 plus free 5. That is not allowed. You have to buy 256. If you have 257, then you cannot buy 256 plus 32. You should buy unlimited. The entire price is within 2000 $2,500. It's a very affordable system. As you know, CCTV is our main, bread and butter. This is supporting. It's like something that we do in addition to CCTV. And at the moment, the licensing is very lenient and it's on a promotion basis. So you can see the difference when you start quoting on our access control software. So, but just remember the license part in order to avoid mistakes. So if you have, also it will be cheaper to just buy unlimited instead of 256 plus 32. It will be the same price of unlimited also. Okay, so here you go. 257 doors, go for unlimited. Otherwise, small projects, what is your benefit? Even for small projects, you don't have to pay any integration license. You know, when you buy integration license from some vendors, access control vendor, they charge $3,000. Our entire access control software can be within that range. Done. All right. Then even for small project, 20 cameras, you have NVR, SSM. our access control, you can get the full-fledged integrated solution even for small projects. So making this feature available to everyone, this is a good thing which you can use. All right. Now the access control software, when you install the software, it will install the database by itself. So you don't have to buy any SQL database. It will install the administration console, and then you can choose whether you want to install in one PC or multiple PCs. No licenses for all this. You can have as many client PC as you want. Then visitor management option. If you want, you can install that in that same PC or a different PC. However, having said, you can install all of them in the same PC, no issue. So you can have one PC with all the applications installed. If your project is 400, 500 readers, it's fine. You can install in one PC, right? Done. Then there is one more application called Gateway, which will be installed. It is used for communicating between the software and the hardware controllers and the software. It is a this is also not licensed, but it is installed by itself. So if ever you see what is Gateway, it's a intermediator application that is connecting our software with the controllers. So what is supplied from Hanwha? Controller reader cards, software and enclosure. I would suggest if ever you're buying card reader from Hanwha, you buy the card from Hanwha. If you're buying the card reader from HID or some other brand, you buy the card from that brand, same supply. Do not buy cards from one company, reader from another company, then you can have a compatibility issue, because at the end of the day, readers are vegan, OSDP, that protocol is fine. But the reader to card, there are some keys, because some companies use keys, so you can be locked out. You may not be able to use freely. That's why buy the cards from the same source. All right. Then we supply the software, access control software. We supply the enclosure. What we don't supply, which you have to buy locally, is the lock, physical lock, and to power that, you can use the enclosure or you can buy your own power supply, push button, door contact, the cables. What cable to use? Open the manual for the access control controller. There is a nice table. What cables is recommended? You can use equivalent. Even shielded Cat 6 cable you can use. Break glass. Battery is not supplied, and a PC. If it's one PC you need to install all the application. So that is not supplied. All right, now let's take an example on how to design. This is the critical part, right? The thing with access control, that this design is actually for 4 slides only. You can do it in 10 to 15 minutes, but the rest of the stuff is what takes time, understanding what it can do. All right, now let's say you have to design a project. Okay, now just let's quickly revise of one point. Okay, main controller. The main controller, you can use it as a centralized or distributed system. What is centralized or distributed? In centralized, central controller connects to sub controller. The sub connects to the reader's door. Distributed, controller itself will connect to the reader door. Done. Only the controller has access to TCP/IP. The sub, no. Sub is using RS-485. Then each controller, each controller you can connect up to 64 readers. How you can connect 64? Using 32 subcontrollers. 16 on left side. This is how it is. 16 on left side, 16 on right side. All right. You remember this port, RS485, port 1, 16 on the left side, 16 on the right side. So you can connect up to 32 subcontrollers. That's why 32, 32 aero modules. Okay, what is subcontroller? This one, X100 is a subcontroller. Each subcontroller can connect to 2 readers. All right, so 32 into 2 is 64. That's why it says here 64 readers using X100 module, 32 boards. Okay, this all you don't have to worry. then the controller itself can hold the data. That's why I said even if the TCP connection is lost, it knows who is the card holder. It will keep in its memory. All the event access granted denied. It will keep 50,000 events. After that, you have to connect the TCP, so all will be pushed to the database. All right. Now this particular reader connection, you can use OSDP method. Reader you can use for OSDP or Weekend. If you use Weekend, only two readers you can use. If you use OSDP, you can loop from one reader port another reader. So four readers, two here, four readers you can use. But there is one catch. No matter what, okay. Here we go. Let's say I have a door, one door, two readers. So in this case, if I use OSDP, okay, let's make it uh, two doors with two readers in and out, in out. No SDP, I need 1x100 port. That's it. Because I can loop four readers, so two into in and out, two readers, total four. So only one board is required. In Weekend, max two readers. So I need two boards in Weekend. Okay, so the cost will be half. Where will it be half? When you need to loop. Why will you need to loop? If you have in and out reader. If you don't have in and out reader, let's say another scenario, don't have in and out reader, two doors. Okay, here better to take this example. Four doors with in reader, push button out, push button out. Okay, so total four readers. Okay, OSDP method. According to OSDP method, you would be thinking now, I can use just one board because it supports four readers. Actually, that is not true. Uh, that the fact is it supports four readers, but there is another catch. It supports two doors per board. Okay, the door can have one reader or it can have two reader. That is fine. If you have two readers per door, okay, no issue. But maximum you cannot exceed two doors per board. So even if I connect reader one, I connect one door, and reader two, I can connect another door. If I loop, that cannot be considered as another door. It should belong to the same door. Okay, the looping reader should belong to the same door. But here I have four separate doors: entrance one, entrance two, back door, pantry door. I have four doors. So in the software, I cannot create four doors. So that's why I still need in OSDP two boards. Two boards. In Weekend also, I need two boards. So whenever you're using in-out option, push button option in reader, OSDP may not give you that advantage of reducing the cost. The only advantage is security compared to Weekend. If you're using in and out reader, OSDP for sure will reduce the cost by half because you need only half the boards. Is this very clear? Okay. This is what I was trying to explain in the starting slide, but I was looking for one slide that did not really convey the message. Now we will be going through the examples. So to apply what we just learned, so it will be in our memory. Master controller, the main controller, it can connect up to 32 subcontrollers. Agreed? In which method? Centralized method, central controller and then subcontrollers. Each subcontroller can connect up to two readers. Okay, so master controller, it has two RS485 port, connect 16 each. 16, 16, 32. 32 what? 32 subcontrollers. Each subcontroller has access to two readers, so 64 readers. All right. So 32 subcontrollers, each two, so 64. So each subcontroller can support two readers or four reader in OSDP, but maximum is two doors. Okay, I hope now you've 100% understood what I'm trying to explain. Now imagine you have a project with 100 doors. Okay, 100 readers. What is the meaning? 100 door, 100 reader. Okay, only in there is a reader, out is a push button. Okay, there's no out reader. Okay. Vegan method. In vegan method, what is the limitation? Per board, you cannot connect. Per board, you cannot connect more than two readers. Okay, so in vegan method, find out how many subcontrollers I need. Each subcontroller supports two readers, so 100 by 2, 50 boards. Then, how many master controllers I need? Each master controller supports 32 subcontroller, so two boards I require. So my total project, 100 doors, so I need 256 door license. That's it. Your project is done. You can buy enclosure from us or from someone else, and you can buy the reader from us or others. It's up to you. All right. So this is the project. Okay. Now another example, OSDP method. OSDP method. I have 100 doors, 100 readers. Remember, in and out is push button. So OSDP not going to make a big difference. Uh, X200, how many subcontroller I need? 50, because each uh, subcontroller supports four readers, but only two doors. I cannot connect more than two doors, right? So the two door is a limitation. So two door per subcontroller. So here I have 100 doors, 100 readers. So let's say 100 divided by 2, I need 50 subcontroller. Then how many master controller I need? 50 by 32, 2. That's even in OSDP, I need the same quantity. Okay, another example. Vegan, 30 doors, 60 readers. What is the meaning of this? In reader and out reader. In there is a reader, out also there is a reader. Okay, so in this case, each subcontroller supports two readers in vegan and four in OSDP. If you're using vegan method, your 60 reader by 2, 30. That means 30 subcontroller I need. Master controller is 30 by 32. I need only one. Done. Okay. Now license. Even though I have 60, some people will take 256 license. Not required. 60 reader is, we are not licensing readers, we are licensing doors. So you need 32 door license. Okay. Another example, OSDP. Okay, this one carefully listen. This is where you will see the cost. Okay, back to this. You need 30 boards for 60 readers. Okay, in vegan. Now in OSDP, each subcontroller will support four readers in OSDP when you have in and out reader. In and out reader. So 60 by 4. I need only 15 boards. Okay, and this one I need to correct. So 32 by 15, 32 by, and correct immediately. 32 by 15 will be 1, so I need 32 door license. Okay, next. Let's say combination. I have 100 door, 100 reader. Then I have one reader near the guard house, very far, somewhere in the gatehouse. Okay, first option, uh, in and out, right? So just divide by reader by 2, I get how many subcontroller I need. Then that by 32, I will know how many master controller I need. For the guardhouse, I don't have to buy one master controller, one sub controller, or I don't have to pull the cable all the way. I can buy an affordable option, PoE controller, just one for the guardhouse, one reader and close. That's it. 100 reader, 100 by 250. 50 readers. Each master controller 32. So 50 by 32, 2. One for the guardhouse. Now distributed system. What is distributed? No RS485 here. Directly controller will speak to the reader. So here very simple. 100 or 100 reader. Just divide 100 by 2. You need that many controllers. That is distributed. Distributor can be expensive. So keep a note. If you have a price concern, design accordingly. In OSDP method, 30 doors, 60 readers. Okay, so you know the method. Each controller can support 2 doors maximum and 4 readers. So 30 by 2, you can do that way, or 60 by 4 will give you 15. So you need 15 boards. Okay. If you did not use OSDP, you will end up with 30 boards. If you use Weekend, you will get 30 boards. OSDP, 15 boards. That's it. So you can find some information about access control on YouTube about how to configure and set up access control software. You can find it. And let me just explain one last point. Okay, so I am using the slightly older list. So here we go. Whenever you see the BOQ model list, let's say this is given to this is like a price list. So you have I-class COS card, I-class COS, then I-class COS SEOS Elite. Okay, same way you can find here R10. This is a card reader. Uh, R10 is a card reader. R40 is a card reader. RK40 Elite is a card reader. So there are different versions of the card reader also. Right? Just take away certain points here. One, the Elite cards will work with Elite readers, okay, because they use a special Hanwha Techman code. This is why I said when you buy a reader from someone, they might supply you an Elite card reader, and you might be purchasing a standard card, and then they will not work together, right? So we just buy everything from the same source. So if you buy a card reader from us, if you buy R10 Elite, you have to buy I-class Elite cards. If you buy R10, you have to buy standard cards. All right. We have long range reader U90 long range reader for the car, uh, 3 to 5 meter. So there you have to use a different card, UHF card, ultra high frequency card. Then PoE controller. These are other controllers, phase station. The PoE controller, by default, it supports only one reader. If you want, you can expand it by buying one more called vegan module to connect to 2 readers. Then um, mobile. Before we had a reader with Bluetooth called mobile, but nowadays all the readers are coming with mobile. Signo 20, all of them are coming with mobile. This R10, these guys are not OSDP, not OSDP. So if you use OSDP connection, you have to make sure the reader also supports OSDP. All right. So the reader should also support OSDP. So there are two types of reader. R10, R40. These are not OSDP. It is written vegan clock and data. Then Signo readers, they are OSDP support. So the controller anyhow supports OSDP, the one which you will be buying, the new ones, but make sure the reader also supports OSDP. Okay. Bio entry, this is the fingerprint reader. It has a card reader also, finger and card. Then Bio Mini, it's scanner. For the cards, you can use 5742. Let me just open this in Google. This is also from, okay, you can, this is it's a HID module. It's a card scanner. Okay. If you have too many cards, if you're registering a lot of cards, like 1,000 cards, 500 cards, and you have to get the card number, you can use this card scanner. It will help you. When you do the enrollment, you just scan, automatically it will type the card number in our software. So you just have to click apply. You don't even have to copy paste, it will type in automatically. However, if you have very few cards, it is optional. You can use our software to do the card reader. For example, uh, if you had noticed, whenever there is an event, okay, this is SSM, even in access control, whenever there is an event called access denied, it will tell you access is denied from a card number so and so. So you can copy that card number and paste. So if you have 2, 3 cards, 5 cards, 10 cards, you can avoid. But it is good to keep every installer. You just need one. All right, and that's it. If there is anything, this is the software license 256 and so on. All right. Okay, one example here. 500 doors, 500 readers. I-class R10, I need 500. How many boards I need for 500 reader divided by 2? I need 250 boards. How many controllers I need? This divided by 32. So I need 8 controllers. How many cards? 200 cards, fine. How many enclosures I need? 250 plus 8, then divided by 2. Each enclosure can house 2 boards. Then one PC, i7, 16 GB RAM. No need for Git licenses for clients, no need for SQL license. You have to make sure it is Windows 10 or server operating system. That's it. This is how you design your access control project. All right, thank you then. If you have any further questions, please let me know in the chat window. Otherwise, the session is completed for today.